ज्ञातिनन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथां विहिताति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं गुरो श्रीयदृक्कमञ्जुषं श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथं तं सचिवं साधितं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावतं श्रीकृष्णकरुणासिन्धौ दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपीकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दारमेश्वरी वृषभानुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु वैरजभक्तानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome to this discussion on Bhagavad Gita. I'm sharing my screen. So we have been discussing shloka between shloka number 30 to 35. Specifically, we are discussing shloka number 34. So we just go to the shloka number 34. Indriyas arte ragadesha vyavastita tayornamasham agacche tauhi asya paripantino. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So, in this, the one important thing that we need to understand. Okay, first let us go to something which Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written a poem called Amar Jivan. Uh, and it comes in his collections called as Sharanagati. Uh, this means uh, Amara Jivan means my life. The opening verse in this song is Amara Jivan Sada Pape Rata Nahiko Punyera Lesha Parera Udvega Diyachi Ekota Diyachi Jivera Klesha. So the meaning is I am an impious sinner. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, that he is an impious sinner and has caused others great anxiety and trouble. He says that his heart is filled with so many desires and he is very simple. Diyechi jivera klesha. So he has given a lot of um, what he calls problems to great anxiety and troubles to others. Then one of the line in this poem is Badaya ke ekona upaya vihina tate dina akinchana bhakti vinoda prabhura charane koro dukkena nivedana. So this is the sixth verse which tells now in the old age, deprived of all means of success, humbled and poor, Bhakti Vinoda submits his tale of grief at the feet of Supreme Lord. So this means, so what is Bhaktivinoda Thakur trying to tell here is this means, oh Krishna, I am taking shelter of you. You are my only resort. Apart from you, who can give me shelter? Who can deliver me? You are my only shelter. All these feelings of being very fallen concludes in the fervent call for Krishna's mercy. Even he never tells that I am helpless. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not telling that I am helpless, and so therefore I will stop chanting Hare Krishna and hence engage in sense gratification. Instead of that, he's saying that I am taking shelter. So we should not, if we are not able to chant, if we are not able to maintain Krishna consciousness sadhana properly, we should not give up the activity. We should continue. If some devotee is making stronger rules, then we need to develop attachment to follow the rules rather than developing a hatred and leave the association. Therefore, this attachment and aversion should take us closer to Krishna. So, therefore, ultimately we need to keep the governing principle, this governing principle in our bhakti. So now if you see then Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 2200, Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulyasya Varjanam Rakshisyati Vishwasho Goptritve Varanam Tata Atma Nikshepa Karpanya Sadvida Sharanagati. There are six divisions of surrender. Um, uh, and six divisions of surrender are acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, rejection of, so first one is favorable for devotional service, so we should get attached to it, rejection of unfavorable things, aversion, then conviction that Krishna will give protection. So, and the acceptance of Lord as one's guardian or master, full self-surrender and humility. So these are the six symptoms of the process of surrender. So this is the title which Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written. So if we are finding it very difficult to follow the sadhana, we should slowly develop the habit of practicing the sadhana rather than giving it up. Thus the guilt should have, oh, if I'm not chanting, we may probably get a guilt. And this guilt should act like the feeling of sickness. So this guilt may act as a feeling of sickness that are created by immune system. And so if we are feeling having fever or having some disease, some sickness, then the immune system should will like to or impel us to take medicine rather than causing hindrance to take medicine. Same way, when we are in material disease, our habits, our sadhana should help us to embrace Krishna consciousness rather than rejecting it. So that is very, very important. So guilt should not overwhelm us. The guilt is like a medicine. Guilt is like a medicine which should help us embrace Krishna consciousness. We have to be very careful that guilt does not overwhelm us, but we must reinforce the conviction that if I practice this seriously, if I practice Krishna consciousness sadhana seriously and consistently, then I will become a good sadhaka. Thus, we should not develop too much attachment for attach, or we should not have too much attachment consciousness so that we do not vacillate between I succeeded in this temptation, I failed in this temptation, and so on. So we must be focused. Probably we fail now, but we will succeed next time. But we'll keep doing our sadhana. The focus should be on how I can focus on spiritual life. There may be battles where we will fail or where we may get defeated, but our focus is on spiritual life. How I can remember Krishna more. If this is our focus, the attachment on material things gets subsided over a period of time. This is like focus on turning on the light to get rid of darkness. For we cannot remove darkness independence of turning on the light. So material life is like darkness, there is light. So we need to gradually increase the intensity of light, increase the intensity of Krishna consciousness in our life. There is one more good shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.31. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakara Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Mayara Adhikara. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of external energy, will immediately vanish. So, so we need to take shelter of Krishna. This is our focus is not to get rid of darkness. Darkness will pervade everywhere and make us blind. Focus is on turning on the light. If our focus is Krishna consciousness, it is easy to get rid of clutches of Maya, that is darkness. Even if we fall down into Maya, we will come out of it. we should not make anything which will take us away from Krishna consciousness. So this is very important. Guilt can make us get detached from Krishna consciousness. I can say that I am so fallen that I cannot follow bhakti. We will become detached from Krishna consciousness. This type of guilt will make us get detached from Krishna consciousness. This we should not do. Always focus on practicing devotional service seriously, sincerely, and enthusiastically. So, just a moment. I think I missed sharing my screen. These two shlokas was the one which I was discussing. आनुकूल्यस्य संकल्प प्रतिकूल्यस्य वर्जनं रक्षिष्यति विश्वास गोप्तृत्वे वरणं तथा आत्मनिक्षेप कार्पण्य shadvida sharanagati. Shadvida means sixfold process of surrender. So first one is what? Anukulyasya sankalpa. Anything which assists devotional service. Accept those things which are favorable. Pratikulyasya varjana. Reject unfavorable things. Then conviction that Krishna will protect, acceptance of Lord as one's guardian or master. So these are the six stages of Sharanagati. Then Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakar Yahan Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Adhikar. So Krishna is like a sunshine. So our focus is to bring Krishna in our life. Darkness will automatically go up. So this is the idea. Now let us go to the presentation. So, this Karma Yoga, this verse 3.33. So, Karma Yoga is a regulated expression. Karma Yoga is a middle way. It is regulated expression of spiritual life. This is done by dovetailing our nature towards action. As sadhakas, we may have to do things which are not according to our nature. So if we do only things that we like to do, then we get a strong sense of doership. We will never learn to discipline our mind and so won't develop taste for core devotional activities. What does core devotional activity mean? Hearing and chanting are core devotional activities, and we need to develop taste in them. We need to discipline ourselves. If somebody says, I have the nature of washing pots, I will do only washing pots, and he doesn't hear and chant, then that doesn't work. So this is the way we can discipline ourselves. So how we discipline ourselves? By doing our services, we will be able to discipline ourselves. We do service which are according to our nature regularly and not according to our nature when needed. We need not have to hunt for services which are not according to our nature. This means that we do whatever is needed when the situation demands. By this, we express our surrender to Krishna. So we will, if we do only things that we like to do, then strong sense of doership comes. So core devotional service is something which we need to really focus on. Now let us go to Shloka number 35, 3.35. Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharmat Swanusthitat Swadharme Nidanam Shreya Paradharma Vayavaha. So, it is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than others' duty perfectly. Distraction in course of performing one's duty is better than engaging in others' duty, for to follow others' path is dangerous. So, what is Krishna here emphasizing? Krishna is primarily emphasizing Swadharma. Swadharma means one's prescribed duties. Many sections in Bhagavad Gita is misinterpreted by people to drive their selfish motives. We have an organization which recommends unrestricted sense and enjoyment. In the shloka, we saw Nigraha Kim Karishyati. There is a motto which says Nigraha Kim Karishyati. What can repression accomplish? This is from 3.33. So if you see, Nigraha kim karishyati. What can repression accomplish? So some of the organization have this as the logo or this as the motto. In uh, in 3.35, Parodharma Bhayavaha. In 3.35, Parodharma Bhayavaha, which is taken by some organization who work to get people back to back to Hinduism. So in now South India and Northeast India, there are huge amount of conversion. Christian missionaries are engaging in many ways to convert to Christianity. So Hindu sect of people, they say that Parodharma Bhayavaha. We cannot go to others. We cannot join others' religion because it doesn't suit us. No, that is not the idea here. So Christian missionaries are engaging in many ways to convert no, Hindus to Christianity. Some Hindu organizations are agitated by this, and they are trying to convert this converted Hindus back to Hinduism. Their initiative, those are called homecoming initiatives. Okay, their slogan is Paro Dharma Bhayavaha. Others Dharma is very dangerous for us. That is what it means. This completely is decontextualized. What does that mean? Decontextualized application in this verse. How, what does that mean? Dharma that Krishna is referring here is not Islam or Christianity or Hinduism. Okay, so none of these religions were there at the time of Vedic culture. When Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita, neither Jesus was there nor Muhammad was there. The word Hindu was not in vocabulary at all. Hindu came in vocabulary only few hundred years ago. This word Hindu. That is, thus, this is a decontextualized use of the verse Paro Dharma Bhayavaha. Now, of course, we can say that people who are converted outside Vedic fold, if they come back to Vedic fold, it is good. The people will at least have appreciation for Vedic culture. The religions like Christianity and Islam are exclusivist. Exclusivist means that that they say that that their way is the only way. Is this based on scriptures? No, it is not based on scriptures. Not exactly. Exclusivist sort of statements are there in all religions. This, however, requires contextual understanding. If some people say that Jesus is the only way and no one should go to the Father except through me, if we go to every original verse, there is a word called which means now or present. Okay, this means it is for time being. So that means Jesus is the only for time being. These type of statements are therefore created to create a focus during that time. If a patient goes to doctor diagnoses the disease, then he gives medicine and the diet. But the patient says that he has consulted other doctors and they have given him different diets and medicine. That time, this doctor says, just follow what I am saying. This sort of statement is primarily to create focus. Maybe the disease previously, when he met the doctor, was a different doctor, was different. Now he has met a doctor, he is giving a different medicine because the disease is different. So, this sort of statement is therefore to primarily create focus. I am the only way. When Jesus told, probably it is for that time being. This does not mean that doctor thinks he is the only doctor. There are and that there are no other doctors, or he is the only genuine doctor, and all others are bogus doctor. The constraint is that patient is not cognizant about every treatment and logic behind the treatment, which the various doctors are thought of. This can be done, but the primary objective at the moment is to cure the patient and hence follow the doctor's prescription. Why and why a particular doctor has given a medicine the patient may not be able to understand. Maybe it is beyond his intelligence. But the idea is that he should come out of the disease. Therefore, he has to follow the medicine for time being. That is the idea. So, exclusive statements are there in scriptures which are circumstance based or time based or sometimes people based. This type of statements are there to create sense of focus and urgency at that time, at that point of time. However, the problem arises when we take them as absolute truths and impose on others. Then this happens with respect to these exclusivist religions. So this happens generally in exclusivist religion. They consider the religion to be the true religion and other religions to be not just wrong but all completely false. That take and they say that it takes people away from God and other religions. According to us, Christ and Krishna are same God. But many of the Christians do not think like that. They think Christ as true God and Krishna as false God. They have the idea that when they have to come to true God, they have to reject the false God. The historical tradition of the biblical religion, Islamic religion, one of the things they do whenever they conquer a particular land is that they go and destroy the places of worship there. Their idea is that these false gods are to be rejected and then the worship of true God will be established. Because of that, people who get converted, then they fall prey to this narrow minded mentality and hence reject whatever they are worshipping in the past. Those who get converted may be told to burn the images of pictures they have. They are told to reject the process of worship elsewhere. Thus, they do not only get converted, but also develop an antipathy towards the other religion. This antipathy is quite unfortunate one. Thus, people will fall away from Vedic fold. If people are within Vedic fold, they will at least have sympathetic attitude towards spiritual life. So when Srila Prabhupada was asked, which is better, one who is following Christianity and Jesus, or somebody worshipping Devi or Devta, which is in the Vedic fold, Srila Prabhupada replied that one who worships Devi and Devta within Vedic fold is much better because he will have lesser cultural and conceptual barriers in coming to Krishna consciousness. Lesser cultural and conceptual barrier. Why cultural? If we look at the culture of Western religion, it is quite opposite. Deity worship is very prominent in Vedic religion. Deities are desecrated in Abrahamic religion. In Vedic culture, the understanding that God can manifest through matter is very implicit. This is just an example. However, it is prominent and an important example. That deity worship is a very prominent example. And why conceptual? Conceptually, the idea that God can manifest through matter and make himself accessible is quite natural in Hinduism or quite not natural in the Vedic religion. This is bit alien to Abrahamic tradition. Tradition. Okay, there are within Christianity also there are some traditions which accept these points, but they are far and very few. These cultural and conceptual barriers make it difficult for the people in these traditions to take up Krishna consciousness. That is why, if somebody is in Vedic tradition, the probability that he would come to Krishna consciousness is greater. That Srila Prabhupada told, Vedic tradition is better. Ultimately, it depends on the attitude of the person towards Supreme Personality of God and its intention for pure devotion. Thus, it cannot be taken as a blanket tradition that one who is materialist demigod worshipper is better than sincere Christian practitioner who is trying and aspiring sincere devotion. Thus, the criteria is not whether the person is within the Vedic fold or not within the Vedic fold, but whether the person is sincerely aspiring for love and service of the God and whether he is advancing in the path of developing love of God. So we are now discussing the point. paro dharma bhayavaha. The point is that what Krishna is talking here is that is no way related to world religions. We could say that for a person practicing the current day Hinduism to be converted into Islam or Christianity is taking a dangerous path. This is not related with the flow of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's point is that if a person is a Brahmana, it is better for him to practice Brahmana's life and vocation. He need not have to act like Kshatriya. He may be able to act as a Kshatriya for a short while since it's going against his nature. He cannot act like Kshatriya for a long time. In purport, if you see, Srila Prabhupada is quoting some exceptions. These exceptions are for a temporary period of time and are very far and few. So a Brahmana should act as a Brahmana and Kshatriya has to act as Kshatriya so that they get purified. So Arjuna get instruction that he has to act according to Kshatriya nature. Krishna is here talking about one's material duties and not about spiritual duties. At this point, Arjuna gets a question. How does one overcome the sinful desire? And how does one become free from sinful desire? Where does this point of sinful desire comes? So this is something which we will be going through in the next set of slokas. So Krishna is telling Arjuna to practice karma yoga. Karma yoga means one should be able to regulate his kama, that means his desire. Otherwise, there will not be much yoga. There will be only karma kanda or kama or karma. What will then one be able to, how can one practice karma yoga? That is, his karma and yoga part significantly depends on practicing without attachment to fruits of one's labor. So that is Nishkam. In the previous verse, let me just share my screen. In the previous verse, 3.34, it is saying Indriyas arte raga desha vyavastito tayorna vasham aggache tauvi asya paripantino. So there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to senses and their objects. So this means what? We need to regulate our situational attachment and aversion. Otherwise, one will succumb. Where does all this lead us to? So, where does the control or dovetailing of our swadharma, our control of attachment and aversion, where does all this lead to? We should all do our duties, but there is something uh, which is preventing us from doing this duty. So Arjuna's point is that, okay, you have told me that I have to follow my swadharma. You have asked me to control my aversion and attachment, but still there is something which is preventing me from doing my duties. Krishna has explained this aversion and attachment situated in the sense and sense objects. So where does this come from? Where does this force which is trying to not do one's dharma and develop an aversion and attachment, where does this come from? So here he is telling it is in the sense and sense object. But where is the pull with where is the covering which prevents one from doing one's duty? Becomes the basis of next shloka or the question from Arjuna. Let us go to that question. Arjuna Vacha. Atakeno prayukto yam papam charati purusha anichenapi api varshneya valad eva niyojita. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vishnu, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even if unwillingly, as if engaged by force? Okay, so charati principally means grazing. Papam charati purusha. This literally means move towards sin. Anichan. Anichan means without One desire, one doesn't desire. Anicca means one doesn't desire. Balad eva niyojita. So, as if by force, one is engaged in sinful activities. What is that force? What is that which forces one to act in a sinful way? What does anicca mean? Anicca, this without having desire to do, but still, is it truly in anicca? Without our desire, are we engaged in sinful desires, sinful activities? Are we engaged in sinful activities against our desire? Not exactly. When a sinful desire comes, we accept it. Other times, we do not have sinful desire. We accept the desire, and that is how we act overall. For example, if somebody wants to smoke, it is his desire. He agrees to do the desire. That is why he smokes. So overall, we may not have desire to act sinfully, but certain temptations come, and at that time, some sinful desires come and they overpower us. At this time, we say yes to the desire. Without we saying yes to the desire, we cannot engage in the sin. Anichan is one's feeling or one's feeling overall. An alcoholic person may say he does not want to drink alcohol, but still we see that he drinks alcohol. Alcoholic will say that I was overcome by force and hence I drank it. Force here is not some external physical force. This is a strong desire that comes up and it becomes irresistible. So, where is this force coming from? Then the person engaged in that anicca, it is becomes irresistible, such that the person it is more powerful than the person who is engaged in it. The person does not want to do that, but this force is so overpowering, it overcomes that person. Okay, so anicca means that we do not want to the do want to do normal state of consciousness. That is why it is anicca. How does the undesirable anicca become ichan? How does something which we don't want to desire becomes our desire? It is because of some force. Balad eva niyojita. There is a force which moves us from a normal state of consciousness. In normal state of consciousness, I don't want to do this thing. But there is a force which moves me out of the normal state of consciousness. Now, how does this happen? This is the most relevant section of Bhagavad Gita, and it is more relevant in recent time. People may not believe in soul. People may not believe in soul. They may not care about the soul. They will say they do not believe in God or they do not care about God. That is up to the people's choice. However, people cannot say that we do not care about how how we preserve ourselves or protect ourselves. All of us feel that there is something in us which sabotages us. There are some sports stars who have great potentials, but they have certain urges, and hence they do something stupid, which spoils their sports career altogether. They are disgraced by that and they regret for that. The addiction is a major problem all over the world. This addiction is of all sorts of this addiction is for all sorts of things, namely alcohol, drug, tobacco, uh, many things. Alcohol. Some people are addicted to Coke. Some people are addicted to Pepsi, colas. Yeah, but then there are lesser forms of addictions which are also problems, like tea, coffee, eating junk food. All these addictions take one's time and mental energy. One is forced to do that activity. One cannot live without it. One becomes so restless that he becomes incapable of doing any activity without fulfilling the addiction. What is this force which engages us in these addictions? What is this force which makes us do work in a particular way? We don't know. There could be different worldly views for these addictions. So watching TV is not sinful. Overeating is not sinful. Arjuna is questioning that there seems to be an enemy within him, which is forcing him to do things which, when viewed from a broader perspective, seems undesirable. Arjuna is questioning about this force which is impelling him to act against his interest. So, say for example, watching TV is just wailing our time. It is most undesirable. We could have done some useful work. Overeating results in obesity. It is undesirable, but still we do that. So Arjuna is questioning about this force, which is impelling us to act in against our own interest. Though we do not want to do it, it makes us do it. It controls, uh, um, makes us act in that way. And what is that force? Where does this force originate from? How is this to be controlled? So the BG shlokas, I'm just sharing the screen. BG shlokas, 30 BG shlokas 36 to 43 are Krishna's answer to these questions. This part of Bhagavad Gita is most important section for sadhakas. These verses are comparable to BG verses 2.54 to 2.72, which talks about Sthita Pragnasya Kabasha Samadhis Tasya Ketava. How does the Sthita Pragna work? How does he sit? How does he walk? And so on. So with this part is very, very important for sadhakas. Let us go to shloka number 37. What is Krishna's first answer for this question? Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kamesha Krodesha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapapma Vidihena Ihavairina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all devouring sinful enemy of this world. So, what is impelling us to do the sin? So, it is the Kamesha Krodesha, it is the lust. So Krishna answers Kamesha Krodesha. It is lust indeed. It is anger or wrath indeed. How does this begin? Rajoguno Samudbhava. It begins with Rajoguno Samudbhava. Samudbhava, some means with, some means with, born of. Samudbhava, created or born of or arise from with Rajoguna, which is mode of passion. With mode of passion comes Kama and Krodha. Mahashano Mahapapma. Mahashano means, Ashano means eat or devour. Mahashano means gate devourer. So it is all devouring. Mahashano means one who is a great devourer. Mahapapma means which is extremely sinful, greatly sinful. Mahapapma, Vidhiyenam iha vairina. Vidhiyenam means vairi means he is the greatest enemy, means greatest enemy. So, what is impelling us to do the sin? This was the question from Arjuna in 3.36. The Krishna's answer is that lust and anger, which is all devouring. So, Srila Prabhupada is telling all devouring sinful enemy of the world. That is lust, which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. Iha mean is often iha vedina, iha in this material world. It is translated as in this material world. So in this world, lust is enemy for everyone. Lust transmogrifies. Transform means change. Transmogrify means change into ugly form. Lust transmogrifies into anger and lust. So, and it transmogrifies into anger and lust. So, what exactly is lust? Where does it come from? So, where does it come from? Mahashano Mahapapma Kama Esha Krodesha. Kama means lust, and Krodha means wrath. It is getting converted based on the mode of passion. So, where does this come from? So, if you see, Srila Prabhupada writes, Supreme Personality of Godhead expanded himself into many for his increasing, ever increasing spiritual bliss, and living entities are part and parcel of this spiritual bliss. They also have partial independence, but by misuse of their independence, then then the service attitude is transformed into propensity for sense enjoyment. They come under this way of lust. This material creation is created by Lord to give facility to conditioned soul to fulfill these lustful propensities. When completely baffled by prolonged lustful activities, the living entities begin to inquire about their real position. So Srila Prabhupada is writing that we are part and parcel of the spiritual bliss. He is not writing that we are parts and parcel of Supreme Lord. So in this purport of Chaitanya Chaitamrita Madhya Leela 20.173, there is a verse, Eko Bahusham. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself into various forms. Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. So how can we be parts and parcels of this? So the usage of the word emphasizes the point that we are meant to be blissful. So when we want to be blissful in association with Krishna, then it is blissful. We are parts and parcel of Krishna, who is Anandamaya Abhyasa. So there is a Vedanta Sutra say, Anandamaya Abhyasa. Krishna is full of joy. Similarly, we are also part of his joy. So Krishna is blissful, we are blissful. There is a difference here. Krishna is independently blissful, and we are no, dependently blissful. We are dependent on Krishna for the bliss. So we are tiny, and hence, when we try to enjoy separate from Krishna, the happiness that we can get is very tiny. When we connect with Krishna, the happiness which we derive through is huge. Therefore, the advice here is that we connect with Krishna, then we get enormous happiness. That is the ultimate goal. That is what is taught here. So the point here is that the enjoying tendency of a jiva, independent of Supreme Personality of Godhead, becomes the source of lust. And therefore, it is, since it is taking us away from Krishna, it is our greatest enemy. So, yeah. So I'll stop here. If we have any questions, let us take the questions. Any questions from you or Mataji?
No, Prabhuji. I don't have anything to ask.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, you have any
Hare,
questions?
yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. No, no questions, Prabhu.
Okay. So let us go to the. I'm just sharing my screen. So now, if you see the overall flow of Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 1 and chapter 2, in chapter 2, Krishna is answering majorly all the questions which Arjuna has raised. So if you see here, let's go here. So if you see here, all the questions of Arjuna, which he has placed in chapter 1, are answered in chapter 2 and chapter 3. He completes that. Krishna is completing it. And then at the end of shloka number 24 in chapter 3, I'll just go back to shloka number. So Krishna is emphasizing that Karma Yoga is very, very important. But then Arjuna gets a question that, okay, it seems that I'm not able to do my duty because of some force. And what is that force? So 36, the question which Arjuna is asking in text 36 is a new, it results in series of uh, the next set of answers, responses from Krishna. But then, why we require a fourth chapter? That is something which is very, very interesting. We will try to address that point. Look, it looks like Bhagavad Gita ends in third chapter. Why we require remaining 15 chapters? That is something which we will discuss soon. We have of late we have not discussed the names of Krishna, Janardana and Kesava were the names which we saw in 3.1. We have not explained, and there was one question from Prabhu on uh, why people cannot take to Krishna consciousness because and how they can overcome this, or the root cause for sin, and how holy name removes the sin and sinful tendency. These are the things which we will take up before we go into chapter number 4. Hare Krishna. If there are no questions, then we will stop here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvayavcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.